Well, hello there again, everybody. Boyd here with you. Well, I'm doing a little bit more work this afternoon on the 1/12 scale 57 Chevy, and I've got the interior all finished up. I just finished that up about an hour ago, and turned out really nice. I'm really liking the detail that you get in these bigger scale kits. You can see you got a lot of nice little extras in there with like the little window cranks and all that. And I did my foil work on the seats and everything. Turned out really good. I thought about doing a little bit of carpet flocking, but when I put the body on and look in there, it's going to be really hard to see that, so I decided to skip over that little part there. Got the dash all done here. I was looking online, and there's actually some decals available for the gauges, but I didn't want to wait for a couple weeks to get them, so I just went ahead and painted all that in. And then I took a little bit of my solar res, and I filled in the clear over the top of those to get the kind of glossy look, so that, you know, it looked like they had the little lenses in there for the gauges. And you can see the foil work turned out really nice on the seats and the door panels and all that. I'm really starting to get the hang of that. You know, as I mentioned in the last video, I went out and I bought some really sharp blades. That to me seems to be the key to having good results with this stuff. You just have to have a really, really sharp blade, and that way you don't have to press really hard when you're cutting it, and you can, you know, control your lines a lot better when you're not pushing really hard, and you just gently drag it over the surface, and then, you know, it separates the foil really easy. So I would go along, you know, and do quite a bit, and then I would change out the blade, because I bought like a box of 100 of them, so I've got plenty of them, and I don't worry about them. I save them for later. You know, threw them in a spare box, so I'd have them for just regular cutting styrene and stuff like that. Here's the engine detail. The engine's pretty much finished up on this. I've still got to add the firewall and the heater hoses and all that. Now, they want you to put this together a certain way, but when I've been mocking this up and, you know, putting it together, I'm finding that putting in the firewall first and then dropping the engine down in there after the body's already sitting on the car is the way to go. It'll fit down in there. Trying to do that the opposite way that they want you to do with the instructions is almost impossible for some reason. It just doesn't want to fit. The bottom side's pretty much done. I can't really flip it over right now because the interior will fall out. But over here, I've got the body, and I've started working on the foil work on it, and I'm really happy with how it's going so far. I've left a couple little spots yet to do so I can take it over to the bench and show you guys how I'm putting this stuff on, but I'm really happy with it. You know, like I said, it's of course, it takes a little bit of practice, and I decided, like I said in the last video, to do it on this, you know, larger scale kit, because I had really clear lines, you know, to work with when I was doing the cutting. But like I said, it's really just kind of, it's not that hard, I don't think. It's just that you have to you know, kind of stick to certain techniques, and watching these videos that these guys made on doing this was a big help. And it's mainly, you know, learning how to be gentle when you do it, not pushing too hard. And you know, if I started to feel a little bit tired, you know, because I was wearing my magnifying glasses to work on it, if my eyes started feeling tired, if I started feeling a little bit, you know, worn out, I would just stop and walk away from it, because that's like giving you a sign that you should probably stop, because if you screw this up, you know, you're going to have big scratches on your paintwork or whatever. So I've got this little strip right here to go across the top, a little bit here on the bottom edge here, and we've got to do this little window here over on this side. So we'll take it over to the bench, and we'll put the camera on the, you know, the top view, and we'll work on that and show you guys how I'm able to do this. So yeah, I'm looking forward to in the future, you know, using this stuff quite a bit more. I'll move to, you know, next time I do a smaller kit, I'm going to try it on that, and I just think it makes a big difference. You know, I was always pretty happy with the using a Sharpie or a Molotow pen to do that work, but I always thought it was a little bit nicer when you would do the foil work. It just looks a little bit better. You know, and you just got to spend a lot of time after you get it cut out, what they call burnishing it, and, you know, taking a Q-tip and just, you know, constantly rubbing it down to get it smoothed out, because when you first put it on there, you're going to see a whole bunch of little wrinkles in it and stuff, and you try to work out as many of them as you can. Now, one of the things that I did find out that's really important, and I definitely will pay more attention to when I do further builds and I use this stuff, I'm going to make sure that I do a lot better job sanding around the, the interior edges and everything, because anywhere you have an imperfection, the foil is going to show it. It's going to look rough, So you have to be really diligent about sanding and keeping everything really smooth. I got a couple little spots I can see. The regular average person doesn't notice it, but when I look at it, I can see it. So, I'm going to do a lot better job on that in the future. I even got a little bit brave here, and I did these little emblems with the foil, which I was kind of scared of doing them. I was afraid I was going to scratch my paint, but they actually came out pretty good. And all I've got to do is go and add some paint coloring into those, and they should look pretty sharp. So, okay, guys, well, let me, well, here's one more thing. Here's the grill. Got all my work done on that. You can see I painted in all the colors and everything on the Chevy emblem, and got a little wash going on there. So that's ready to go on. And I've got to clear coat my hood here. I put one coat of clear on it, and I'm going to put another coat on that to bring up the shine on it. I've got to do a little bit of buffing and polishing on the top of the roof. There's a couple little dust specks, but I'm going to do all that after we get all the rest of this done. So let me head over to the other bench now, and we'll set this up, and we'll finish up the foil work on it. I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, we're over to the bench here working on the last part of the bare metal foil. I've got one little strip I've got to do here along the door. I went ahead and did this roof one here because it was going to take quite a bit of time. It took me about a good 35 minutes just to get around that little window and around the top. Didn't want to take that long on the camera, but here's what I'm using, you guys. This is the bare metal foil from the Bare Metal Foil Company. They've been around a long time. They've got all kinds of different versions of this. This is what they call their regular chrome. They've got a more shiny version one. They've got less shiny like aluminum. They've got gold. They've got a dark like black anodized version. You've got all kinds. I think you even got some that simulates like carbon fiber. So try this stuff out if you want to use some of this stuff, guys. It's really good quality. This is about the size of the sheet that you get here. I think this was around $7 for this size of a sheet. You can see this is what I've got left so far, you guys. A lot of it was my own fault by trial and error, practicing and not liking it and taking it back off. You'll get a lot more efficient with this stuff if you keep on working with it. That's it basically. It just is on a backing paper here. You just cut it the way you want and peel it off and then apply it. So I'm going to go ahead and put it down on this last area right here. These are the tools that I'm using, you guys. I'm using a good pair of tweezers. I've got a good sharp pair of scissors to cut this out. And of course the all-important double sharp or surgical type number 11 hobby knife here. I've gone through about 3 of these blades on this job so far. I've just not taken any chances and just changing them out every so often. That seems to be the key to this whole thing, you guys, is keeping this thing like super sharp so you can just kind of glide it along on your line there to get to, to make the cut. Now I'm using this little wooden pointer stick that I have here, this little wooden, and it's got a slightly blunted tip on it, but it's still fairly sharp, and I'm using that for when I apply this on here, to go in here and kind of push it down in, and get it really tight up against that line where I'm going to make the cut. A lot of the guys out there that do this a lot are using these are the ultra fine Q-tips, and they don't like using a regular Q-tip, they say, because it has this extra kind of fuzz on there and it gets stuck on the edges of the foil. So I've kind of just used this to kind of smooth it all out once I get it all on there. But I haven't found the need to use these. This little wooden thing works really good. It doesn't rip the foil, it doesn't scratch it, and I'm able to get this stuff down in here pushed in nice and tight. So that seems to work pretty good, and it won't wear out like this. You'll go through a lot of these. But let's see, we've got one last one to do here. So I've got this piece and I'm gonna cut it out. Now what you want to do, that I figured out, you guys, I'm no expert, definitely I'm just starting out on this stuff, but what I figured out and what's worked for me so far is what I'm going to show you guys. I cut this stuff out, and you want to make it a little bit bigger than what your size actually is going to be, because you're going to fold over some excess and you're going to cut off some excess, obviously, and you want to be able to place it. If you cut it off and you have to make sort of an angle on something, don't worry about it. Just make sure you overlap the whole thing, so once you cut it all out, you're completely going to cover what you're trying to cover. So tilting it or whatever doesn't matter, because when you're going to cut it off, you're not going to be able to tell anyway. So what we're doing here is we're going to do this last little section right here where part of it's this little curve, and then it's just this little piece of stainless molding that's on the top of the door edge right here. So we're going to curl the excess over onto the inside, and then the outside we're going to make a cut. So let me get it off of the backing paper here. This can be kind of tricky because it sticks on there real good, and it's super thin. Okay, I hooked an edge of it. Now you want to make sure that once you pull it off of there, you guys, you don't touch the adhesive. Don't get your fingers all over it or any of that, you know, any of that kind of stuff. Don't accidentally drop it in your towel like I almost did. Because they say right in the instructions that once you put this down, you don't want to lift it back up and reapply it because it already starts to lose a little bit of its adhesive property. Okay, so now I'm going to just stick it down on here. Just not worried about, you know, being perfect. I just want to make sure I got a little bit overhanging on the inside edge, because I want to have enough where I can fold that over, and you know, nothing will catch it and lift it back up like when the interior bucket goes back up. If you have it too close to the edge where you just use a little edge there, and it doesn't have a lot of that's gripping onto, the interior bucket can push up and lift it up. I figured that out on the other side, so kind of keep that in mind. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just using my fingernails and my fingers to just like kind of preliminary work this stuff into place. What you want to do is when you stick it down, start working from the center out so you don't get wrinkles, right? You don't want to get a wrinkle that won't come out and you're going to have to lift it back up and stretch it and put it back down. You want to work those wrinkles out, you know, as you lay it down on there, kind of like you're doing a decal. So, okay, I did that with my finger. Now I'm taking this little wood piece and I'm just going to go along that little line right there, and I'm just going to tuck this stuff in, especially on the line where I'm going to make my cut, right? That way I can get it up there nice and tight, and it gives me a clear, defined line that I, you know, to guide my knife on. We want to go back on this up curved part here just a little bit. I know exactly where I'm going to make my cut. Okay. Now, where it meets this little curve right here, if you guys can see this, I'm going to slice it about, you know, 1/8 of an inch away on the inside, and then I'm just going to take this and I'm going to fold that up right over and get it out of the way while I still can. All right, and that way I don't have to worry about it catching anything. And I'm also going to fold over the stuff that, you know, everything that's going on the inside. All right, cut this off. Let that piece fold under like that. Cut around this little edge right here. And come down. Now I'm ready to cut across my line. This is the scariest part for most people, you guys, where, you know, you're putting the knife to it. So we'll just have at it here. Now, with my line, I can see it clearly, so I'm just putting the knife on there. And I'm just going to let it drag across, make one, hopefully one nice fluid, smooth move. I've got a little dip I got to go around right here, which is why I'm being a little bit cautious. Yeah, I made it around that. Just let my knife ride right up on that line. Okay, just like that, you guys. Now, hopefully, if I did it right, we can grab this little piece right here. I gotta slice through that little curve I made. I can see that. Okay, I'll grab it again and go ahead and pull it off. Pull really slow too when you're doing this, you guys, because like if you get to a spot where it didn't cut or something, you don't want it to rip, you know, into the stuff that you want to leave behind and ruin it. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. Now we've got this little hunk right up here that we overlap the other stuff that I want to get rid of, so just pull that right off of there. I'm going to go ahead and burnish it down here a little bit with this Q-tip. Okay. Burnish the edges. You'll see when you run over it with the Q-tip, guys, it'll take away that, you know, a little bit of that rough edge. Now right here, there's a little spot right here where the door seam runs through the trim, so I'm just going to make a little slice through it. That way this can kind of get down in there a little bit better and look more like it's got a gap in it, like you want it to. Okay. Now we got to finish off at the back here, so I'm going to make my little cut right across here. Okay. Now we can pull the rest of this back and pull this piece off here. All right. Let's go ahead and burnish out the rest of it here. Excess pieces of your trim will keep falling off. All right. And there you can see it, you guys. Came out real slick, really nice. Got all of our, you know, all the way around. You can see that. Now we've got big chrome pieces that go on the side here that come with the kit. So, and I think I'm just going to do the door key locks with some with my Molotov pen. One more little final step that I'll point out is that this stuff leaves behind a little bit of residue from the adhesive. You can feel it. It's, you know, it gets sticky, and you just take. I've got some of that shoe goo. It's called. It's just an adhesive remover, or mineral spirits, same thing. And if you want to use that, and that's just it won't attack or hurt my clear coat at all, and it's just wiping that stuff right off. Clean it up real nice. Okay, it's neutral too, so like if you're going to paint over the top of it, it won't affect clear coat or paint or anything like that. It doesn't react. You just want to make sure it's good and dry before you do that. Okay, because what I'm going to do, you guys, is I'm going to some guys do and some guys don't. When I was talking to the people that do this, now on your Molotov pen or your the chrome type paints, if you clear coat over the top of them, you're gonna ruin the chrome look. Okay, there's really no kind of clear coat out there that works really good. All Clad Aqua Gloss is about the closest thing you're gonna get where it keeps it to that original metallic look, but it still does take it down a little bit. Burnish it a little bit more right here. But foil like this or regular chrome plating, you can paint. I'm going to use my 2K clear coat. I'm going to give this whole entire thing another coat of clear over top of the chrome and all. And that's going to actually help smooth out some of the little, imperfections in this foil. And then I've got a couple of spots on the car that were, going to need to be polished out. There's a couple little tiny little dust specks in the roof. You guys probably can't even see it. There's 2 of them right here on the deck lid. The rest of the car looks perfect. But I thought, well, since I'm going to buff it anyway, I'll just go ahead and I'm just going to re-clear the entire thing. So I'm going to lightly scuff this whole thing down with some 600 grit, staying away from all the chrome, and all that. And I'm going to hit this again with my clear coat, and then that's going to, lock everything in really nice. So that'll be it for this video, you guys. It won't be, I just want to show you a little bit of that foil and show you an update on the interior and everything. Come the next video, part 3, we're going to finish this all up. I might even already have it finished by the time I show it to you, but I may leave a couple little things to add on that we'll finish right at the very end. So I'm going to go ahead and re-clear this now, and we'll see you for the next video, everybody. More to come on some Star Trek builds that are coming up here, too, and some other updates we've got for you. See you on the next video, everybody. Take care, and happy modeling, everyone.